Diggs Nation.
Tonight on Peanut Butter Magic, it's Ladies Night. And we got a special lady as our guest. And she's going to talk about being a lady in the music industry. Y'all stay tuned.
It's the Peanut Butter Magic Show. It's the Peanut Butter Magic Show.
Welcome, everybody, to Peanut Butter Magic, the show where we talk about everything in show business and the things that we endure on our quest for greatness. I am your host. My name is Diggs. And I got my main man, my right-hand man, Brandon, Boss 10, Austin, in the building. What's up, boss?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Everything is lovely, man. Everything is lovely. How about you?
Oh, man, I'm trying to stay warm. I got my hoodie on today. It's freezing.
Yeah, man, the temperature out here is kind of crazy, too. And I know it's cold in Kentucky because it's always 25,000 degrees colder there than it is here. So it's cold here, so I know it's an igloo type out that mouth.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if you can see, but my husky is asleep behind me.
Really?
It is so cold down here in the basement that this is where he's been hanging out.
Because you know huskies like that coldness.
Oh, yeah, man. It's
Yeah,
cold.
I mean. Well, speaking of cold, we got a cold conversation going on this evening. You know, this whole season, we've had a bunch of guys to come on and give a guy's perspective. Well, tonight, we have a lady as our guest. She's an R&B singer, my friend for a quarter of a century. She's here with us, Danny Rowe. Hello, Danny.
Hello.
How you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing all right. It's kind of cold here in New York.
I believe that. Has it snowed there yet?
No, not yet. Not yet. But yeah, the temperature has definitely dropped.
Yeah,
hmm
I can definitely believe that for sure.
Is it cold where you are?
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. We've already had snow, actually.
I believe that too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like today it was extremely cold.
I would have fit right in with you guys down there then, because I threw that fur on.
Yeah, you'll need it in Kentucky. It gets pretty cold there. It does. It gets pretty cold there.
Surprisingly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ms. Rowe, we want to thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to bring a little bit of diversity this season.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I asked you to come on so we could talk about woman's point of view. Because we've had several guys come on and be guests and talk to them. So, but before we get started with all of that, how about you give a little brief introduction on Danny Rowe?
Well, Danny Rowe sings R&B and sometimes a gospel song, but mostly R&B. So try to keep it, not dated, but try to keep it old school a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A little of today's music, a little bit of today's production. But yeah, definitely, I like the old school.
So
I'm still old school.
So how did you get started in this business? Because I've known you for a very long time.
I started as a teenager.
All right.
I was put into a group called Area Code 914. I'm from New York. And at the time, my manager was Gene Griffin, who was very well known in the industry. And he was, I believe, the uncle to Teddy Riley.
Okay.
And his partner and some of his partner's friends that I knew from school, they were actually monitors in school. They were like security.
Mm.
And he said he needed a female singer, and they were like, "Oh, we know someone." because I was always singing in school. And Orville Gilchrist and Gene Griffin started me off in a group called Area Code 914. But they asked me to do something that was like, I've always been the same, had that sultry sound. So for me, R&B was, home base. It was either that or gospel. So they asked me to sing something pop. And I mean, it was real pop.
Yeah.
We talking 80s pop.
Ah, what was it? Material Girl style, was it?
Well, and it wasn't really fitting my bill. Anyway, we went through, took me down to Unique Studios back in the days, that was the it spot.
Shout, yeah.
And we recorded the whole night. I remember living off of black coffee and sugar.
Right.
And still had to go to school the next day. So like the 10th grade or something like that. 11th grade. Mm-hmm. And, at the end of the session, I was like, I hate it. I hated doing it. I'm like, that's terrible. It's not me. Anyway, they loved it. They were, everybody was going crazy. And they took it to Teddy Riley. And all I heard was they said, he shook his head and said, she's not ready. The crazy thing is that I wasn't even mad.
Right.
I wasn't even mad because I was like, the best thing they could have done for me was not let me be me and just do my own thing. If he would ever meet me again, he would have known they made the mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. So where did things go after that?
I mean, after that, I basically, I found a couple of teams, production teams, managers, and I did perform a lot. I went out, did a lot of performing locally. Yeah. And just, I played all the local spots that were happening back in the 90s. You and
I used to sing together a lot. We used to do a lot of duets and stuff.
Yeah, I was mostly in the studio recording. I would go out and I would perform, a few clubs at a time. I did Red Parrot. I did Honeysuckles back in the days. We did a few Underground. I can't even think of all the spots right now. I'm sorry. My train of thought. But yeah, no, we did a lot of performing and recording. And I found out 3 years after I did the performances. So this was I was 19, 20 around the time. By the time I was 23, 24, I ran into one of the people that were promoters, one of the promoters for some of the shows I was doing. And they were like, oh my God, back then I wasn't Danny Rowe. Back then I was going by my middle name, which is Brandisha. And, they saw me down on 59th Street and was like, oh my God, we've been looking for you for 3 years. Arista's been trying to sign you and we couldn't get you. And I was just like, well, everything happens for a reason. But I found out that the producer at the time was basically telling people he was my manager and he wanted a production deal. But he told me about Arista. He knew, but I didn't know.
Now, back in the 90s, production deals were commonplace.
Right.
Yeah.
And he had a few acts. They had no talent.
Right.
I was writing for a group he had. And they could dance. They danced their behinds off. I think there was one or two people that could carry. One person that could really sing, and then I think one or two could maybe carry a note. They didn't go anywhere. And I found out, way too late. But, these things happen. That's what the industry was made of. Back then, you really had to take control of your career.
Right.
And if you didn't, it was very easy for things to go a different way. And I feel like he did give me a contract actually with Warner Chappell.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted me to go overseas. And at the time I was just like, yeah, that's not going to work for me because I had, my daughter. I actually had both my daughters, my two oldest daughters. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going overseas and leaving my kids here. That's not going to work, But knowing some of the stories that a lot of these artists have, from that era, I know I dodged a lot of bullets.
Yeah.
A lot of bullets.
I feel the same way. I honestly do. Like with my story, and I'm not here to really talk about my story, but I also feel like because things played out for me the way that they did, that I also dodged a lot of bullets.
You definitely did.
Yeah.
And
now,
I got firsthand.
Right. Now, how's it been? Because I can't speak for a woman, but let's talk about your journey in the 90s and being a woman in the industry. How was it for you back in those days? Do you feel like you were getting a fair shake with everything, or do you feel like it was biased, or?
I was a background singer for a quick minute for Dina Howard when she had Freak Like Me, and she was starting to tour and do all those things. She was signed to Electric, and she was signed to Mechadon, was the management company. And at the time, Mechadon, they were trying to. That was Max. Was it Max and? Can't remember the other guy's name, but anyway, so they were trying to figure it out. They were like, Brandisha, we haven't forgotten about you. We definitely want to, come and figure out something for you. And at the time they were saying that there was just too much. Me and Adina were just way too close in sound and sex appeal at that point. And I guess, because she had the whole Freak Like Me thing going on. I had a few, not raunchy, but they were just trying to figure it out, and I didn't stick around long enough. I had a lot of different people that wanted to team up with me, work with me. There was a lot of I had trust issues. I had a lot of trust issues because I had friends that worked for Bad Boy, and they were trying to get me, signed to Bad Boy, and I really wasn't trying to get signed to Bad Boy at that time. I was just really, if I could have done the independent route at that point, I guess I probably would have, but, I decided to just chill, and, it was just way too much. I think finding out about the whole Aris trip for me was just like, okay. Yeah, I'm not about to let nobody else play me in this industry. Just not gonna.
Now, you and I met in 1997.
Right.
And at the time when I met you, you were writing. I remember the very first night that we had met, I came to your house. And you were writing a song, if I'm not mistaken, it was All the Pain I Feel Inside. Yeah. Reason why I remember, because I remade the record for one of my albums. Back in 2004. What I mean? That record just kind of inspired me a great deal to where I just kind of flipped it and did my own kind of version of it. But I do remember that night, and you were writing, and you were so heavily engulfed in the writing process that night to where you and I, we didn't really build real dialogue the first night that I saw you. How has writing affected your career as far as like, do you write all your own stuff or
I wish I could say I do, but you know what? No, the first song that I put out, Real Love, I did write Real Love, which you'll find on all platforms. Real Love is out, and the video is also on YouTube. The first song, yes, I did write. The second song, the next two songs that are about to be released, one of them which is being re-released, I'm sorry, I know it's a little confusing, but we had a little issue with production, and I asked them to pull it back and so we're looking at it again, making sure it's right this time before we re-release, which was I Can't Get Enough. You've heard it, you know, and my songs are, you know, they're my babies. I didn't write I Can't Get Enough. I actually hired a writer, a very, very cool writer, very nice with her pen, Danielle Carr. Shout out to Danielle Carr Music. And she wrote I Can't Get Enough, and she also wrote Say Please, which is coming out in February on my birthday.
Do you still have ideas come to you to write? Because I know for me, sometimes I struggle. I struggle with
yeah, no, I actually, you know, crazy enough, I get ideas, like I could be watching a commercial and, you know, somebody will say something and I'm just like, oh, cotton makes you feel good. We got, the cotton, you know, and it's just like from that, it's like, it just goes from that point. And it's like, you know, I get ideas from everywhere. And I mean, literally my phone is just, that's my recorder. You know, I do everything from my phone.
Yeah.
So you said that you hired a writer. Does that mean, like, did you bring a song concept to her, or did she bring the lyrics to you?
I did. I bought the concept. So what happened was I emailed her just some different ideas that I had. And I said, look, I want to challenge myself, and I want to try some things different. I said, if I write this myself, because I kind of knew, like I knew the topic, and I wanted it to follow what I did with Real Love, but I wanted to take it to the next level. So when we came up with I Can't Get Enough, and I told her, I was like, it's I Can't Get Enough. And she was like, you know, and she kind of gave me a mix. You'll hear the song eventually and you'll hear what I'm saying. So she kind of gave me a mixture of Betty Wright meets Beyonce.
I guess that's a good way to describe it. Yes, I can get with that. I can co-sign that.
Yeah, it was dope because it's like, okay, it's like I definitely am challenged. I'm definitely challenged in this, definitely. So, but it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of fun.
So when you get lyrics from an artist and you go to the studio, do you ever? I'm not a musician, so I don't know what boundaries would be crossed. But if you went into the studio and said this doesn't work and you change stuff, does that become the norm, or do you try to stick to the lyrics they provided?
Well, you know, the thing is, being a writer, if something doesn't feel right, I always have the final determination as to what I'm going to keep. If I'm going to change something, you know, tweak it. I think every writer knows that, you know, when an artist takes the song and we paid, first of all, let's just be clear, we paid her, right? And then she also gets her
splits.
Yeah, she gets her splits.
Yeah.
So thank you, because it's like, I'm so nervous, guys.
Relax.
Yeah,
we just chilling. Yeah, we just chilling. You know what I mean?
But, you know, she'll get her publication rights, and, you know, that'll be good for her. But again, she got paid. But yeah, no, any writer knows that an artist is definitely going to tweak. They're definitely going to tweak it.
Do you prefer writing your own songs, or do you prefer collaborating with other writers?
I actually don't have a preference.
Really?
No, I don't have a preference. I don't. Well, you know, we have a song that we worked on.
Yeah.
And, you know, it only took for me to hear that beat to be like,
yeah, you had it done in like a day or two. It was crazy.
It's like,
it was crazy.
It was 20 minutes after you said
Right. Right. It didn't take long at all.
You got it back the next day.
Yeah.
I was done 20 minutes after I heard it.
Right. Yeah, you sent me lyrics that night. You did. Yep, you did.
I was like, So yeah, no, actually, I really don't have a preference. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love creating. So I mean, my process is not done once I'm finished writing. I'm still in my process.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I'm recording, even if I've written the song myself, there are still times when I'll ask the producer to give me some ideas, or if
Right.
he hears something, because producers are very good, I believe, with arrangements. They know what they hear.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll ask the producer, listen, guide me if you hear something that you feel like. So with Real Love, even though I wrote it, the producer did a lot of arranging. So we tweaked some things even, while we were recording.
How often do you get lyrics from someone that you've hired or are working with, and that inspires you to write something else? Like Sway mentioned, taking a song that he knew that you were working on when he first met you, and that kind of inspired him to work on a project of his own. How often do you get those lyrics back from an artist and then put them down because you need to move on to something that's just popped into your head?
I don't get a lot of written words from writers.
Oh,
I don't get a lot of written words from writers. I do mostly my own writing.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I mostly do my own writing. I only uh, look to get a writer for 2 songs.
I see.
Yeah, for 2 songs. I may in the future, in the near future, decide to get another writer to come in. And actually, I do have a song that I want to put out next year, next summer. And I'm actually looking at 2 people to come and write with me.
Mm.
And then I do something at my studio where I hold writers camps.
What is that?
And that's basically, I invite writers to come, and I have the production team in the studio at the same time. So while the production team is working on production, I have the writers just as you hear it, just start writing.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm. It's very impactful.
Yeah, I bet you got all those creative minds in the same room. I bet y'all come up with some amazing stuff.
You would, you would really. We have so much fun. I mean, we laugh. We this person is coming up with this idea, and then, they'll go into the booth and they'll record it, and then the next person's right on top of them, and it might even just been one line. They may only have come up with like one line or a couple of bars, or maybe even a hook,
Mhm.
and the person is already writing the verse or onto the bridge, and then so we just have a great time. We have a great time. It feels like a party. It really feels like a party, but we just have so much fun doing it.
I bet everybody feeding off of each other and
Yes, yes. And it makes you a better writer, because it's a lot of people, they get stuck in their own mind,
sure.
just trying to get things, trying to get the point, trying to, and sometimes it doesn't really need to be that serious. Like, you
Right.
should, to just sometimes just quickly come right off the top of your head. It takes time though.
Yeah.
It takes time, I guess, for that.
Okay. And you're in New York too. Is it very competitive?
New York is New York is very competitive, but I think the one thing that people don't really understand is that we're so unified here. Like, it's about the love here. Like, we have a love for our music. We have a love for each other doing what we're doing. I get so much, like I said, I get so much encouragement, just from people that now know that I sing, because for a long time people didn't know I sang because I wasn't singing.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
um, I was a mom, and that was, my main focus. But now that people do recognize that I'm a singer, I get so much love. I get so much support.
And that was my experience in New York too. It was like you could literally be on the same record with someone that you couldn't stand.
Yes, because again,
I'm serious.
it's not about you as the person. It's not about me, the person. You know, we can have our oughts, we can have our issues, but we're gonna make this music work.
Yep.
We're gonna put it down on the lines, you know what I mean? And we're gonna make a hit.
Yep. I experienced that so much in New York where people didn't really vibe together on a personal level, but they came together for the greater good. I think that's why I got the term I use all the time, sacrifice yourself for the sake of the record. You know what I mean? You know, let your ego go to get the record done. Because that's what I picked up.
Those are the best. Those are the best records. If you look back to was it The Girl Is Mine with Michael Jackson and Paul
McCartney.
They
have you out there.
Yeah, you know, you got it, right? Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney, you know, we know that they had their issues.
Right.
We found out actually much later, we found out, you know, that they had some issues and but they pulled off The Girl Is Mine. And then oddly enough, that years later, here go Monica and Brandy, who, even though each of them had their personality issues or, you know, whatever, you know, we heard about in the media, they still went and did The Boy Is Mine and, you know, and pulled it off and a classic.
Yeah. And that's the vibe that I felt when I was in Westchester too, is that it just, when it comes to the music, none of the shit that happens outside of making records matters at the end of the day. You want to get the song done.
At the end of the day, you know, I'm a part of a film company. One of the companies that we have, Red Iris Films, and we are currently working on a documentary for a gang, a gang from the 90s, from the 80s and the 90s called Young Guns.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so crazy because listening to all the different issues that they had with everybody, this person and that person, you know, Eddie F and this person and that was a part of that whole, you know, because we're from Mount Vernon.
Right.
Here, you know, the home of Heavy D and that whole, you know, the whole vibey hip hop culture that Hev had going. And when you hear like all the backstories, it's like, man, y'all were going through all of that, yet y'all still made fire.
Right.
Y'all were going through all of that. However, Hev was still on top. Y'all still had fire. Pete Rock became an icon and a legend with all the craziness that was going on. So it's like, you know what? You know, the determination is the music is what's the most important. You know, we love that music life, that we about that life.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've had several people on this season from Mount Vernon. Is it a close-knit community out there?
Oh, it's only 4 by 4.2 miles.
Yeah, right. Everybody live in the same house.
A population of 75,000 people that live in that 4.4.
Right.
So, yeah, I would say it's pretty close.
Wow.
You know, and the funny thing is, you know, there's a lot of things that happen here, issues and, you know, politics is still politics. But at the end of the day, if you come in here, the reason the Young Guns got started in the first place was because people were coming from somewhere else and was coming in and shooting up and doing things here, and they just weren't gonna have it. Yeah. My was like, no, and they came together deep. Yeah. You can ask about the Young Guns.
Yeah, I've heard about the Young Guns.
Yeah. So you know.
And y'all, and you're producing a documentary for this.
We are, yes.
Wow, that's exciting. When will this be publicly available?
Well, we're hoping to get it finished probably about spring.
Okay.
Great. Not sure when we're gonna drop it yet. They're still in talks about it, because again, we're working with a gang, so you want to make sure you do
Sure.
right. They
Sure.
may be older, but they're
Yeah,
still
yeah.
who they are.
Is this your first go around with a documentary, or do you have a background in video?
We have a very strong background in video. We have been in operation for a little over 15 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, so we have a very strong background in both film and photography.
Okay.
You can look us up on YouTube. Our reels are up. Red Iris Films, one word.
Red Iris Films.
I'll text it to you guys later on so that you can see a lot of the stuff that we do.
Okay.
Actually, my video was shot by Red Iris Films as well.
That
Yeah,
was
you-
my next question.
Yeah, you mentioned the music video earlier, and I knew that you were an artist, and I didn't know that you had a music video out, so I'm excited to check that out too.
Yes,
Giving me lots of homework today.
Right.
good. It's called Real Love. And
Brandon's a filmmaker. That's what he does. Brandon makes film.
I think, Brandon, if that being the case, I'm sure you'll appreciate a lot of the editing.
Yeah,
A lot of our editing practices.
Yeah. that's the editing is my that's my
You know, I'm
weakness.
spoiled. I'll tell you guys this, I am so spoiled because it took us a long time to, and it's a very simple video, but it took us a long time because I'm so, like, I believe in my team so much and our brand. And I'm always looking at how I represent us, how, so there are things I've probably made people shoot like 100 times over, and I'm like, no, go back. It's not right yet.
Are you a diva, Danny Rowe?
I don't look at it like that.
How you look at it?
A bit of a perfectionist, I only did like 20 recordings of my song.
Right.
Hey, sometimes that's what it takes. Hey,
I ain't gonna hate on you.
Yeah, no. You gotta do it till it's right. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, you'll never get it back.
Exactly. And it's all about, what you hear, how you hear it. Everybody's ear is different.
Sure. So
Now you mentioned earlier. Oh, go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead. What was
I
that?
just had one last question about this video stuff. How involved do you get in the creative process? Because I work with a lot of musicians when it comes to music videos, and I've had musicians that have brought me not a script, but this is what I want the video to be. And then I've had musicians that have said, I have no idea, let's just do something. How involved do you like to get in that process?
Well, we do ask, we ask them to, write down some ideas, if you're able to draw it out, if you're able, give us a drawing board and let us know exactly, if you know the direction you want to go in, write the rough down, right? Let us, I mean, we can go off the cuff. There are a few videos that we've done. I directed a video for vocals by Jamel called Talking Me to Death. And I remember they came and picked me up the morning of her video shoot, and I didn't even know we were going to shoot the video. And they go, and I'm like, well, where are we going to go? Oh, we got to shoot a video for Jamel, vocals by Jamel. And I'm like, oh, okay. Never heard the song until I'm like, well, I need to hear the song.
Yeah.
If I'm going to direct a video, I need to at least hear the song. So she played the song, and I'm listening to it, and she had all these people she had invited to come and be in the video, just knowing she needed bodies. And I said, okay. And I looked around the room. I said, okay. I said, that's the main guy that you wanted. I was like, yeah. I was like, sir, yeah, I need you to take your shirt off. And he's like, huh? He was in corrections. So he was like, but I was like, do like 10 push-ups and you'll be fine. And then, there was another person in the room that she had been in had gone through high school with, and he was just basically there for support. And I looked at him and I said, "You have another shirt to put on?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." And I took her flowers out of her vase, her fake flowers out of her vase, and put some paper towel up in the top of the cork of the bottle that the flowers were in. And I said, "Here." And I handed him the vase and the flowers and said, "Go stand outside.
Hell no.
You're going to be the guy that takes her away from the guy that she lives with." So the video is very interesting because, oddly enough, I'm literally in the house with all corrections officers who all have guns, and the guys are getting madder by the moment every time they figure out what I'm ending this video with. So I basically told her, I said, "Look," I said, "you're pissed off at this guy because he's not paying you any attention. He's on his phone. The entire time you're singing, you have an attitude." And I'm like, "You're in the kitchen, you're cooking, you're sitting in your lingerie. He's nothing. He's not paying you any attention at all." I said, and then he leaves. He's getting dressed to leave. I said, so when he leaves, enters in the new guy. We got him coming up the staircase with the flowers and the bottle of wine. And he comes in. I was like, "I hope this isn't odd for you, but you're going to have to kiss him."
Oh my. How did that work out?
So she goes, so they're like, "Oh my God." And so she greets him at the door, and I'm like, "You gotta look like really sexy, like you enter into my boudoir." And she's like, "Okay." She ran with it. Well, I'm gonna tell you, the video came out so well done. You would have thought that we had done the treatment. You would have thought that we had, this whole thing thought out for weeks, and
Made it up on the fly.
Right.
make on the fly. And then she invites the guy in. We get pictures of them, just chilling, and the next thing you see is he's laying in the bed with her, and the boyfriend that she was living with comes in and sees him laying in the bed with her, and he just throws his keys on the bed and walks out. Yeah. I was like, there's some get back for you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up.
Look
It's called Talking Me to Death by Vocals by Jamel. Shout out to Vocals by Jamel. She's a
Very
dope,
good.
one of my vocal coaches.
Beautiful. Now, you mentioned earlier that you had stopped singing for a while.
I did.
I remember kind of those moments. What prompted you to want to not do it during those times?
It was really finding out about the Arista situation. That was probably the straw, for me. There were moments after that. Again, I was working still. I was still an artist. I was still performing. I was still, doing backgrounds again for other people. But mainly it was needing to know the direction that I was going in and wanting to have more control over my career. Like, I just did not want to put that into anyone else's hands again, because I just felt like it was very poorly, I was very poorly treated. I was, when you're lied to and by people who are supposed to be your team, your support, it's different. It hits different.
Oh, for sure.
It's different. So I just felt if I was going to do music, I wanted it to be with people that I felt I could trust, or just not do it.
So what did you do in the meantime?
I was a mom. I took care of my kids. I gave them my time. I sang in church.
Mm-hmm.
And, I tried not to sing in church. I tried not to sing, period.
Yeah.
That left it up to me. But, God had used me to do some things, to travel in some different areas, some different churches. And so for basically those years that I wasn't singing and writing, I mean, well, I won't say I wasn't writing. I won't say that because
Mhm.
I did. I actually wrote a gospel song. No, I wrote a gospel album.
Interesting.
I did. In my time off, I wrote a gospel album and never did anything. I actually, no, I recorded one song. It's called Stuck.
Mm-hmm.
One day I'll let you hear it.
All
One
right.
day. I've never finished it. Never finished the recording. But yeah, so I was doing other stuff. Taking care of my kids was primarily my focus.
So
And
how
that
long
was,
how long of a layoff did you have?
for 20 years. Well,
Whoa. 20 years.
Brandon's like, damn.
Peter Wayne, 13-time Apollo winner. Peter Wayne contacted me and he was like, Brandy, you got to go back into the studio. We got to record you. And that was 15 years ago. That was it was like 14 years ago when he was going to do it. He wanted to do it.
Mhm.
And things happen for a reason. That's all I can.
After
But
20 years, though, after
Yeah.
20 years, that's a long time, right?
Yes.
What gave you the motivation to go, I'm back, I'm doing this, let's go?
So I came to Bedrock in 2017.
Now tell the people what Bedrock is. What is Bedrock?
Bedrock Entertainment is my production company, our record label.
Oh, okay.
And we're an independent record label under Reggie Huggins and Christopher Killebrew. And I actually came in not as a singer. I came in as an assistant. Reggie had come to me. I was working on a panel for a news podcast. And he saw me and he knew that I had been doing stuff in music for a long time. He just didn't really know what. He didn't know I was a singer. And he knew that there were things that I knew about the background, the business of music. And he asked me to come because he had done a project here in the city of Mount Vernon called the Foursquare Peace Project. And he wanted to build a nonprofit organization off of it, from that project. And then the Peace Project was, he bought 52 kids from off the street after a young man whose father had built his studios, built our studios. His son got killed. He got shot 13 times. He was 23 years old, a father himself. And most of the kids that were a part of the project knew him. And so the idea was to bring in these kids off the street and allow them to produce their own album in dedication to him and his family. And so they did that. And, there were some things that were supposed to happen in support of that record. But unfortunately, a lot of people that had said that they were going to do the funding and making sure that this record got put out, that didn't happen. And so we wanted to make sure that, going forward, we could do it in a way where the kids would be able to, gain something from it. They would have not just learned a skill set, but that, they would also be able to make some money, and figure out if they wanted this to be their career. So I started a nonprofit organization with us called Society of Friends Incorporated. And we are a 501c3 902A group, nonprofit organization. So it was pretty great. So that happened in 2017. And I had been here just doing that, and then also the film company, and then also working with the artists that were coming in. And these were young people. And I was working with a young lady, and I worked with her for 9 months. And when she first started, she was, she had a gift. She had a beautiful, a nice voice. She hadn't really learned how to control. And I worked with her for, I think, the first 3 to 6 months. And the first 3 months, the producers was like, yeah, no, she's okay. By the end of but I want to say mid 6 months, they were calling me for her. I had, trained her vocally, and they were just astounded. They were like, oh my gosh, she's a beast. She's crazy. And we got her on a Day 26 tour. We were doing so much with her. And then she just decided, I don't know, not to do music, decided not to sign, decided not to do a lot of things. And I think from that moment, it was just like, wow, we put so much energy and so much time into helping her develop her developing her vocally, and for it to just go nowhere. And there were a lot of those stories. There were a lot of these young kids who thought they wanted to come in, and then the music industry, for some reason, they couldn't handle it. It was like you get them to a certain point, and they're just like, oh, I got to pay bills. I got to do this. I got to do that, And so it was a little disappointing, for a while. And then 2020, COVID hit. My dad, who had been one of my biggest supporters of coming back into music in any form or fashion, he was so proud of me. He was a musician. He had taught himself every wind instrument and had a beautiful singing voice for so many years. He was a solo artist when I was a kid, when I was a baby. And he was always one of my biggest encouragers. And he died from COVID in 20.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So the thing I wasn't planning on doing, which was being an artist, basically fell in my lap at that point, because I reintroduced my dad back into music. And one of the videos I have of us in the studio, he was playing the flute and we were recording him. And, so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to have to pick this up, but I don't want it to be just about me. So I took my dad's name. So the name Danny Rowe was actually my dad's name.
Very good. So what happened after that? So how'd you get back into the swing of things? What happened?
Once I told everyone what I was doing, what I wanted to do, I think I wrote the first song, which was Real Love. And I called up one of my producers, who was The Volume, JD Lee. And I said, look, I want to record a song. And I had been playing around with some things here and there, go hang out and, just go and hum this, or just go sing this, or something like that, but to actually say, I actually think I want to record my own song was something different.
Right.
So JD was like, okay, come on, let's do it. He was like, what you got? Let's do it. And we went into the studio and I showed him the lyrics, and I played the beat that I had chosen from Peter Lamb, who was also one of my producers, and he did a drill beat. And I was like, I know it's different, but I want to make it an R&B song. Mm-hmm. And JD was like, I love it. So it became a fusion of R&B and drill.
Okay.
And so it was like, he sat down with me. We went through arrangements, and he was like, so we're really doing this? I was like, yeah. He was like, okay. So he wasn't easy on me. He was I was like ready to just like, okay. He was like, you talking about get back in?
Right.
No, you too seasoned. No, I don't want to hear it. No excuses. You said you was going to do this. Let's do it. So yeah, so we came out, and the song was great. We loved it. I knew it was a hit when Reggie heard it, because Reggie had, you know, Reggie has his own ear. Everyone goes to him. He's the OG. And, you know, I said it's probably funny that he started his career off. The first song Mary J. Blige came out with, who was the artist that he toured with and the artist he worked with in the beginning of his career, was Real Love.
Yeah.
So when he heard it and he couldn't stop playing it, I was like, okay, I'm good. That's it. And you know, the funny thing is that I actually had not chosen to take my dad's name yet.
Yeah, because that came like in the fall.
Yeah, that
like
came.
2020.
I was like, because I kept thinking about it. I was like, I don't want to do this as myself. I don't, you know, I felt like, I still felt like a mom. I was like, I can't do this like this. It's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to sell this like this. So when I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I was like, okay, Dad, we're going to do this together.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do it together. So I announced, I believe you're right. In the fall, I announced that right before, I think it was like the fall of 2021.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was actually before that. It was in spring. It was in the late spring, because we actually put the song out in June of 2021. So yeah, so I made the announcement because I wanted to let everyone know, because I was like, everybody's gonna think this is so weird. Like, oh my God, what is she doing? Like, why is her father's name all over the place? So I made the announcement via social media, letting everyone know that this was what I was gonna do and that I was taking Dad's name, just in case they saw it. Don't think I've lost my mind.
Right. Of course.
No, I didn't flip out. I'm okay.
Well, that's subjective, but we won't talk about
Right.
it.
You that you're still out, right?
So where did that lead to past that? Okay, so now you got your name, now you got a record. What happened once all that started to fall into place?
So I immediately turned back into the music executive. So everything that I was doing for my artists, I literally just started jumping into place and doing for myself. As far as, EPKs, making sure that was done, making sure I had proper, representation. My website went up. I started working on things like, my pictures, making sure I had enough content. Everything basically that I would tell my artist is exactly what I started telling myself. It was like
Right.
I was hitting bullet points, for myself. Okay, did you get this? Did you get this? Did you get and then when we shot the video, it was so crazy because, we had just left, we weren't, in fact, I'm sorry, we didn't leave anything. COVID was still going on.
Right.
And so I had hit up one young lady that I had been working with, and then another one, they were best friends. And I was like, look, I need to shoot this video and I need females. And you'll see them. They did an excellent job in the video.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were just talking about throwing things together. We were at a catering hall and I was like, the best place I could possibly be is a place that has its own props.
Right. Right.
So I had them shopping. I had them going around looking for anything that could make up a dynamic living room scene. I'm like, this has to be like something rich and straight out of Dynasty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Aging myself right now, right? Telling my age. But yes, I was like, we need to really make this look like, we spent a lot of money,
Right.
but we did.
Right. Of course.
But
Smoke and mirrors, baby. Smoke and mirrors. We do it all the time.
So they had a wedding reception in the next room. Yeah, so they had like all these huge bottles of liquor. So when you look at the video, you see like all of these great big bottles of liquor all over the place. I was like, somebody can really think we put some money into this video. We just got lucky. We had it like I said, it was the best place that, they had their own props. So it was dope. It was really dope. So, we got to shoot the video. It didn't exactly turn out the way I thought it would, because for the treatment, I had actually had them as a band of thieves, and I was the head
Oh wow. They
of
set it
this
off in that joint with.
this diamond house. We were supposed to be in the diamond district, but that didn't happen. So I mean, you know what? We kept it simple because we wanted to get it done and get it out. And we were like, everybody was like, we have a good product. Let's just go ahead and do it and get it out. So from that moment, then I started getting on again. I just jumped right back on my executive band. And I started finding links to different things like radio stations, DJs, DJ pools, and I started sending the song out to everybody, everywhere. I was hitting everywhere. I was hitting everyone. And lo and behold, I looked up and I was able to get the song on iHeartRadio.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you can actually look up on iHeartRadio if you have it. Real Love Danny Rowe. It's there somewhere. If it's not, they didn't take it down off of Google, so it's not my fault.
Touché. So what's next for you?
Well, my next song I'm about to drop is I Can't Get Enough. Hopefully it'll be done by mid next week. And then after that, I'm doing Say Please. I want to do a video for Say Please. And then for the summer of next year, I'm doing a song called Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Okay. That all sounds good.
What is that song going to be about?
Uh,
No,
Cyndi
I'm just
Lauper?
kidding.
Come on in the morning light. Make it happen.
Probably not. But we did use this. We do have the sample in there. Hopefully,
Okay,
we can.
very good.
But it's actually very excited. I'm very excited to actually do this song for next summer because I know it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing the video for it as well.
Now, the $64,000 question I have is, where's my record?
So,
Yeah.
I was gonna put that out for Black History Month.
Right.
I was gonna.
Right.
I can't do Say Please, and then it's a powerful song.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know if
explain. I need some explanations.
Has Brandon heard the song? Has he heard it?
It's not complete. So I haven't let anybody hear.
Okay, so it's a very powerful song. It's, very cultivated. It's a, political type song. And I'm not sure if the air is right for it yet. I don't know. I think we should, I'm not saying we should wait until there's another Eric Garner. God, please no.
Oh.
I pray there's never another Eric Garner
Right.
or any of those, tragedies that we've had to suffer. But I definitely want to get that done soon and finish up. Because we placed your vocals.
Okay.
We placed your vocals 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I sat down with one of my producers and we put it in.
Do you have a draft that I can at least listen to?
No, not yet.
See, there that is.
Well, listen, you could have just mixed it yourself and then we wouldn't even be going through this.
I didn't have all the vocals. I was missing.
I done sent you the stems.
I don't have the rap stems. Who's on the rap?
I'm born.
I don't have those.
I have them. Send
them to me.
You know what? We can make that happen
tonight.
We can. Well, I have to go to the studio for that.
See.
So you might not get it tonight, but you know what? I'll try to get it to you before the end of the weekend.
Okay, I can live with that.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I can definitely live with that.
Yeah. Okay.
I can. You know what I mean? Is there any message you want to leave? I wanted to just kind of get your take on anything you can give to the young ladies to inspire them, motivate them to, pursue their passions.
What I would say to the young ladies, I honestly would not. I wouldn't just say to the young ladies. I would say to both male or female. No, don't just be passionate. Do your research. Google College, YouTube College. We don't live in an era where you should ever where you should ever be detached or disconnected from the business of music. It's not just about having talent. It's not just about a gift. You know, you definitely need to be accountable for the business part of it. Anything that you write, make sure that you have your copyrights. Anything that you sing, make sure you have your splits, make sure you have your copyrights, make sure that your business is taken care of. And I cannot make that any stronger of a point.
All right. Very good. Any last words, Brandon?
I just think it's great that you came back to music. Like hearing your story tonight and your reason for stepping away, and then your powerful reason for coming back. I just think that's inspirational for everyone, because everybody runs into moments of their life, I think, where they just think, you know what, I'm not going to do this. And then over time they go, maybe I should. And you did. You said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And you came back, and it sounds like you've come back swinging. You've got a video production company. You're working on music videos for other artists and documentaries. You've got a schedule of songs that are coming out, and you're working with all kinds of people. I just think it's great. I think it's great. I'm glad you came on today, because I know there are people that need to hear this stuff.
Yeah, I'm really excited, honestly. I don't think that I could have done this at a better time. I know that sounds crazy. I waited until I was 51 years old to be an artist, but I'm my kind of artist now. I'm enjoying myself, and I'm not looking to be, I'll use the term that I heard someone use last night, another rap artist actually. He said, I'm not really looking to be lit right now. And the truth is that that's really what it is. I'm not looking to be lit. I'm looking to enjoy myself and have people enjoy music with me.
That's great.
And for me, that's my success. I don't need to make $1 million. The millions will come when they come. Right now, I want to have a good time. I want to enjoy it. And I think that's what we miss when we're chasing the bag.
Yeah. I think that's the chemistry with all of us right now, though. Everybody's just trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
And be creative. You know what I mean? And have a good time while being creative.
Well, I think we brought into the whole concept of, the music industry is magical. It's our fantasy world. You get in and you put out a song, and you become this celebrity, and you become rich. And, unfortunately, we have seen so much demise that has taken place with our celebrities, and just how they're not happy. They don't look happy. They're walking around in clothes that they probably can't afford.
Right.
Jewelry that is only shining. It's not real. It's, and it's sad because they feel like they have to put all this on for us, and really, we just want to love the music.
Yep. At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, we just want to love the music, and it shouldn't be necessary, to lose yourself to have a career. I don't think that's necessary.
There you have it, folks. Take it from a woman that's been doing this for a very long time. You don't need all the glitz and glamour and glitter and gold and all of those things to keep your creative juices flowing. Just stay working.
Don't believe the hype.
Yeah, definitely don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype.
Just keep working it out.
Yeah.
My buddy says dreams don't have an expiration date.
No.
So, don't be afraid to live out that dream. We're watching Danny Rowe live out her dream as we speak. And you can too.
a good time doing it.
Thank you to Danny Rowe for showing up for us this evening, man. You have no idea how much we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Guys, look, I'm having a peanut butter good time.
We got a candle coming out soon, too. Just to let you know.
I'm going to have to get that candle.
Peanut butter magic candle. It's on the way.
It has been a peanut butter magic good old time. Thank you guys so much for having me on tonight.
Very good.
Thank you for coming on.
All right.
Of course, I waited until the end of the podcast and the program to get comfortable.
Right. You know,
I feel so much better now.
as you should.
All right, well, let's get started. No.
Right. Break it down one more time.
Start from the beginning.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. I love the program, and I really hope you guys keep it up. I didn't talk about this. I know we're getting off, but I did have a podcast that was on. It was on Facebook, and you'll find some episodes, I think, on Instagram called Sipping and Singing. And it was a lot of sipping and singing. But I am looking to get into another podcast going forward. So that's probably going to be one of the next things that you'll hear that I'm working on.
It's hard.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's not easy. Let me tell you.
But you guys make it look easy.
Yeah, you know.
That's the magic.
Right.
Peanut butter magic. You guys are pros.
That's right.
Thank you all so
Thank
much
you.
for another episode of Peanut Butter Magic. For my main man, Boss 10, this is Sway Low. Till next time.
It's the peanut butter magic show. It's the peanut butter